Well, welcome back. This is Eric Arnold, and I am here in what I call my politics barn. Normally, I'm a sports handicapper. Right now I make college football picks, baseball picks, probably will do college basketball as well. However, I, as an American, am concerned about the terrible, terrible direction this country is headed in. That we are going to throw away 250 years of self-determination and freedom for basically totalitarianism, authoritarianism, whatever you want to call it, fascism, communism. We are going to lose the right to make our own choices in this country if we keep going down the path we're going. So that is why I am out here in the barn today. I call this my politics barn. Normally it's a sports barn where we talk sports, but I can't help myself. I got to do something. So we're going to say this is our politics barn for today. So in this episode, we are going to discuss the fact that YouTube censored my last video and talk about the mechanics of what happens when you get censored. I'm sure maybe some other YouTube creators are curious about that as far as, well, what does happen to you? Does someone show up at your door or what? No, it's not quite that exciting. So let's get into that. The two things that drive me, there's a lot more than two things wrong with this country. I mean, you can go down the list and basically it all points back to the Democrat Party. As far as who's wrecking this country, let's not mince words. The Democrat Party is wrecking this country. If you're a Democrat, well, that's who I'm trying to reach right now. I'm trying to convince, I don't want to preach to the choir. I want to try to convert some of you people in the middle, some of you people that have voted for Joe Biden, that, hey, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying this. Perhaps, just maybe, you made a mistake. Just maybe you made a mistake. And let me explain why. That's what all these videos are me trying to get you to realize why you may have made a mistake by voting for Joe Biden and to consider possibly not doing the same mistake over again. So my video that got pulled down, you're saying, wow, it got pulled down. That's exciting. Let me see what it said. What did you say? I have posted the offending video at rumble.com. Rumble.com. And my handle over at rumble.com is Politics Barn. Politics Barn, all one word. If you look for Eric Arnold, you won't find it. It's under Politics Barn. So then the video should come up. I believe it's entitled my vaccination mandate video that was banned by YouTube. So those are the two things that really, I believe I got lost on a tangent, but the two things that really pissed me off, censorship and vaccination mandates. So here I got both to talk about because my banned video was about vaccination mandates and it was censored by the twits at YouTube. So how does that happen? Well, I post the video and it goes, whenever you post a YouTube video, it goes through some kind of checks. It runs, you upload the thing, which depending on how big your video takes minutes, if not dozens of minutes. And then it runs through some sort of processing or checks. I always assumed it was some kind of artificial intelligence algorithm running through your video to make sure there's no secret words in there, if you know what I mean. They're absolutely forbidden. And if so, then it immediately gets flagged, or it's looking for copyrighted content. In other words, if you just lift the entire Rolling Stones Brown Sugar song, for example. Oh, I forgot that one. Making a note here. Okay. If you lift an entire copyrighted song and just slap it into your video, then the thing will flag it and say, hey, this has copyrighted content. We can't post this because we're not allowed to. You got a choice. You could either redo it, cut out the copyrighted part, or just start over. So it does that. If it finds no issues, you push publish and whoop, up it goes. Well, I did all that, everything fine, push the button, whoop, up it goes. So a day later, I log on to YouTube and here's a window pops right up in my face. We think you violated our community standards in your latest video entitled, and I don't even remember what it was entitled. I think it was something like vaccination mandates and wildcat strikes, something to that effect, has been removed. If you think we've been in error, you can appeal. And that's it. You get an email sent to you from a no reply email box at YouTube saying, we pulled down your content. We think it violates our standards. That's it. It's like, well, can I call somebody? Nope. There's no humans are involved. There are no humans are involved. So it points you to a page, and my offense apparently was medical misinformation, which I guess puts me in good company because YouTube has censored Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul, former Republican candidate for president, current sitting United States Senator from the state of Kentucky, represents millions of people. They've censored him, if you can believe that, for medical misinformation. Dr. Rand Paul, I would wager there's not one goddamn medical doctor in all of the YouTube hierarchy, but that didn't stop them. So they've censored Senator Dr. Rand Paul, Senator Dr. Rand Paul, censored him. They've censored Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, another elected official representing millions of people. What they censored on him was an actual hearing in the United States Senate that's actually on the record in the halls of the Library of Congress, what people said in open testimony in front of the Congress that's available for all time, supposedly available for all time in the halls of the Library of Congress. YouTube censored that. The chutzpah. I mean, can you believe that? So I guess I'm in pretty good company. So at any rate, you want to see what I actually said, go to Politics Barn at rumble.com, So at any rate, they give you a little, this is the really funny part, they give you a box. There's a little box there, and that's your place where you get to appeal. Now, this is my own fault. I thought, well, all right, I'm going to take this seriously, and I'm actually going to try to get this warning. They pitch it to you as a warning. In other words, nothing happens to you except they take down your video. But you've been warned now. So if it happens again, you get a 1-week suspension. So I've been warned now. So I don't want to be living under the threat forevermore if I say one thing out of bounds to the computers of YouTube or the communist twits that run the place. I don't want to be living under that threat of a 1-week suspension. So I'm going to take this seriously and I'm going to try to appeal it. So foolishly, I type out, I waste an hour typing out this appeal, basically explaining to them I went to their medical misinformation page where they've got, I would estimate upwards of 100 things that you can't do, which it's like, all right, I didn't say that the vaccination causes you to be magnetic. I didn't say that it's a byproduct of the 5G movement or other, I'm making some shit up here because I couldn't remember some of the crazy stuff that was on there. But then, it's like, all right, maybe they think I violated this. They don't tell you what you violated, of course. All they say, they give you 2 words, medical misinformation. They don't give you a timestamp on the video where, like, for example, the copyrighted material, they give you a timestamp. They said, okay, between 0030 and 0045, you had copyrighted material in your video. You got to take that out. Fair enough. They don't do that. They just give you 2 words, medical misinformation, and then it's up to you to guess what the hell you said. So I'm going to make my appeal. Maybe I can figure out what I said. They'll tell me, okay, well, here, this is what you did, Mr. Arnold. I type out in Word because I want to get all the grammar and spelling exactly right so I don't seem like a crazy person and they don't just laugh at me. Oh, look at all this misspellings that this Trumper did. Ha, ha, ha. So I get it all right. That takes probably an hour. I write about a page and a half and I go to the box and they give you 800 characters to respond. 800 characters. Not even 800 words. You get 800 characters. It's literally the old joke t-shirt that we used to wear back in the 70s where it would say at the bottom, complaint department, and there'd be a box like that. And it would say, put all complaints in the below box. Make sure you write legibly. It's literally that. It's a joke. As I said in my previous video, the Nazis gave you more due process than YouTube. So I cut down my rebuttal, my appeal to 800 characters. I send it in. Within 12 hours, I get a robo email back saying, yeah, we looked at your appeal, denied. Again, from a no reply email box. Nowhere does it say, oh, if you want to talk to someone about this matter, please contact blah, blah, blah. None of that. None of that. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to debate. That's the whole point. They don't want you to say anything. That's why they took it down. They don't want to debate, so they can't debate, fairly. So that's what happened to me. So now like I said, you want to see the offending video and see how horrible it was, go to rumble.com. And my handle is Politics Barn. I believe the title of the video over there is my video that was banned by YouTube, something like that. My vaccination mandate that was banned by YouTube. I think that's what I entitled it over there. I encourage you to do it, please. And you can see for yourself. So, I don't want to get too exercised, and there's so much ground to cover about the First Amendment. The tactic that YouTube, and let's face it, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Google and YouTube, by the way, are the same. Google owns YouTube, in case you didn't know that. They're arms of the Democrat Party. Right now, the Democrats are in charge of the government, so right now they are part of the government. There's really no debate about that. They work hand in hand with the Democrat Party. There's nowhere where their interests do not coincide. So they are part of the Democrat Party. The tactics being used by the Democrat Party, i.e. YouTube, is the tactics of the bully, of the thug. It is not an honorable tactic. If you want to, the way things used to work in this country is that we would have two parties. We've pretty much always had a two-party system. And perhaps, with the exception of the era around the Civil War, we've always had rules in place between the two parties. It's like, oh yeah, politics ain't beanbag, as the famous saying goes. And, sometimes each party colors outside the lines a little bit. But for the most part, there were rules that applied. Well, now we're throwing the rules out, and that's dangerous. Where the Democrats, they don't want an honest debate of ideas. They simply want to win the argument. And hey, one way you can win an argument is shut up the other side. Now, one thing that happens when you shut up the other side, no one ever cross-checks your arguments. So the Democrats are running open out in space right now with no one challenging them in the arena of ideas for the most part. They control all the major media outlets in this country. So they get to say whatever they want, basically unchallenged. So what happens when you do that is often then you start to just make stuff up. You just make it up because no one's there to call you a liar. Well, that's what the Democrats do without exception. Well, not without exception, but routinely, let's say it that way, routinely the Democrats lie. They just lie. And there's no one there to call them a liar. The press secretary of the United States the other day said, no, gas prices, they're really just they're only up in a few places. It's not going up everywhere. Well, of course, any check on any kind of website that tracks gas prices shows you they are going up everywhere. They are. Every state in the union, gas prices are up. So that's a lie. But, in fairness to her, she may not have checked it. She just may have made that up. But no one's there to call her a liar, so she just gets away with it. That's a point. What I'm talking about there is free speech. So free speech is an honorable tactic. It's a tactic on which this country was founded. Just throwing it away, getting rid of it, is more dangerous than you could possibly imagine. That's what I want you moderate Democrats to think about. It's like, this is your party that wants to throw away argument, that wants to throw away the free exchange of ideas. Now, you may think, well, it's just the other side that we're telling to shut up, so I can get my way. That I don't care. I want my way. Well, I'll tell you what, it won't be long before there's an issue that you're passionate about, and they're going to tell you to sit down and shut up. How would you like it? I live my life as best I can through the golden rule. I try to do unto others as I would have them do unto me. I'm not that religious a person. I do believe in God. I don't go to church, but I try to live under the golden rule. And I would like to put that to YouTube. How would you like it if something you wanted to talk about that you feel passionately about, let's say abortion, where suddenly now you're not allowed to say, I think it's my body, my right, and I should have the right to choose. And you're not allowed to say that anymore. How would you like that? I don't think you would like that very much at all. So, this happened Monday. My video today is Friday, October 15th, 2021. My video was put up on Monday and taken down about 6 hours later by YouTube. So, since that time, just in that amount of time, what is that, 4 days? Here's a list of people that have been censored and or attempted to be canceled. In that, just that what I'm trying to get across to you is this is happening all the time. It's all the time it's happening. It's not just, that's an isolated incident that happened to you, Eric, because you've got a big mouth. You asked for it. This is happening all the time on a daily basis. So let's go here and let's have a list. All right, so here's me. We'll put me up top. Most insignificant person first, but it is my barn, so there you have that. John Gruden. He was canceled. Canceled. What does canceled mean for you people that were born yesterday? That means you're done. You're out. You're gone. You're thrown out of polite society. You cannot say anything. You cannot get a job. You cannot do a thing. You're gone. No one will hire you. No one will listen to you. No one will touch you. Your history. If you were a public person making your living as a public persona, all done. That's what happened to John Gruden. Now, who's John Gruden? John Gruden, former coach of the Oakland Raiders, former Super Bowl champion with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, formerly had his name in the Ring of Honor in Tampa Stadium, potential Hall of Fame coach that could go either way. His career wasn't over, it is now, but he was potentially a Hall of Fame NFL coach. He's gone. Why is he gone? Well, they unearthed emails that he sent from 10 years ago where he used the F word, and that's not fuck either. He called the commissioner of football, I want to get this right, quote, an anti-football pussy, unquote. I mean, okay, it's a strong opinion, but we're canceling this guy because of this? Well, that's what we do in this country. He had an email in there where he called, I believe, the head of the players union. He observed that the African American man had big lips, which I guess is right out of the racist handbook, that you can't say something like that. Yeah, I mean, somewhat. Yeah, I agree. Okay, yeah, that's not right. Shouldn't have said that. A lot of things he probably shouldn't have said, but he did say it. Guess what? That's free speech. Free speech is you get to say what you believe, and if it offends somebody else, that's too bad. That's what free speech is. It's not protecting my speech. It's protecting your speech, the other guy's speech, that he gets to say what he wants to say, even if it offends me. So, no, but that's not what we do anymore in this country, is it? So he's done. He's canceled. Let's see, we got the Rolling Stones, Brown Sugar, off their great, my Sticky Fingers, right? That I think that was the first song on one of the sides of Sticky Fingers, I think, from 1971. Do I have that right, Stones aficionados? Song's been around for 50 years. The Stones have been playing this goddamn song in concert for 50 years. Well, they decided they just didn't need the hassle anymore. And I don't even know what the lyrics of Brown Sugar are. Let's face it, unless you're a Stones aficionado, it's hard to listen to Mick Jagger sing and pick out the exact lyrics because, there's a little bit of rock and roll in there where the words kind of get slurred this way and that way. And if Keith sings the song, forget about it. You're not going to be able to understand a goddamn thing. But apparently Brown Sugar had something to do with slavery, or there's a lyric in there that maybe refers to slavery, and by God, that's out of bounds anymore. So the Stones, and I don't know, I blame them. I mean, they have a great album or a catalog of songs, so they got anything they could play in concert, but they just decided, you know what, we don't need this hassle, so we're just going to play something else. We're just going to play something else. Maybe the outraged crowd will go somewhere else. And we're not playing Brown Sugar in concert anymore, even though we've been playing it for 50 years. So Brown Sugar canceled. All this happened in the last 4 days. Let's see. I'm censored. I'm not canceled yet, so let's just put censored. Gruden's been canceled. This has been canceled. R, B, G. Yes, the notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now you're saying she couldn't have been censored. She's dead. That's right, she's dead. But it came out in the last 4 days that she gave an interview in the last, 5 years or so to Katie Couric. And she expressed the opinion that she wasn't down with the people kneeling for the anthem, that she didn't approve of that. Well, that was deleted, omitted, canceled, censored by Katie Couric and Company. Can you believe that? The notorious RBG, one of the icons of the progressive movement, and even she can't speak her mind if it violates progressive orthodoxy. So she was censored, I'm going to say this is 2016, by Katie Couric and Company. I mean, my God. So, censored. Who else? Okay, this just happened today. I saw this. Steven Crowder who's that? Well, he's a comedian that does his shtick here on YouTube. It's got 10 zillion more subscribers than I do. Apparently he's a pretty funny guy. Somehow he's built his big-ass channel here on YouTube without being canceled, which means he must be either incredibly lucky, incredibly talented, or both. But now, of course, he's run afoul of the YouTube police. It's only a matter of time. I mean, you're kind of like you're Icarus, man. You're the guy there who put the wings on with wax, and as you climb up the YouTube standings, sooner or later, you're going to get too powerful, and they're going to clip your wings, and boom, bam, down you go. So apparently Crowder now is too powerful, and he said, God knows what, something about the trans community. I don't know what he said, but God, you can't say anything about the trans community other than, we love the trans community, and man, if my son wants to cut his dick off, I'm all for that. What a brave choice. So he said, I don't know what, but YouTube gave him a week's suspension. So we'll put suspended. So he's suspended by YouTube. All right, lastly, here's the last one. We're trying to get this guy now. We're trying to get this guy. Dave Chappelle. I don't know if I spelled that right. Is there two P's in Chappelle? We'll leave it like that. Dave Chappelle. Now, of course, who's Dave Chappelle? He's only one of the funniest comedians that have come down the pike in the last 30 years. A thoughtful, funny guy who doesn't have an ounce of racism or bias in the guy. He makes fun of everybody. He's funny. That's the thing that the left never gets. They don't have a sense of humor. They don't understand a joke. They can't understand humor. They don't have humor. How much humor? What kind of comedians went around in the Soviet Union? None. What kind of comedians were there in communist China? None. Were there any comedians in Nazi Germany? If there were, they didn't last long. There aren't comedians in totalitarian societies. And that's where we're going here, because the left, the authoritarians, the twits at YouTube, don't have a sense of humor. So Dave Chappelle is making fun of the trans community again, and apparently, he's much more powerful than Steven Crowder. Poor Steven Crowder's not as powerful, as popular as Dave Chappelle. So they're trying to get Chappelle. Chappelle, of course, is not on YouTube, or he'd be censored. He's not subject to the whims of the YouTube twits. He is on Netflix. He made his special, and the platform, his comedy special that's being distributed on, is Netflix. Well, there's all these progressives at Netflix that don't want him to speak, that don't want him to have his say. Why? Why? Are you afraid of what he's saying? Does that cause you fear? Clearly it does. I don't know why, but he is being tried, and Netflix, God help them, they're standing strong. They're saying, no, we're not canceling this guy. Now, I don't know if that's because Netflix, I don't know the first thing about Netflix or their politics. If they are standing strong because they believe in free speech, and they know that a society without free speech is a society without a lot of things, and it's not going to be good for anyone. Or Chappelle just brings in so much money that they can't turn away from that. So Chappelle safe. For now. That's just in the last 4 days. These are major people, major personas, myself excluded, of course, that have been censored, canceled, suspended in 4 days. So wake the hell up, you moderate Democrats. This is happening, and the people that are doing it are your people. Now, what do I want from you, moderate Democrats? Look, I don't want a whole lot from you people. I really don't. I don't want you to go out and attend a Trump rally. I don't want you to go out and buy a red hat. I don't want you to tell your significant other that, you know what, I've had a change of heart and I don't want to be a Democrat anymore. I don't want you to go to your family and say, I don't want to be a Democrat anymore. I don't want you to get a t-shirt that says, I agree with the fat guy in the barn that Democrats suck. I don't want you to do any of that. What I do want you to do is when you get in the sanctity of that voter's booth all by yourself with no one around, don't vote for the Democrat. Don't vote for the Democrat. That's all I want. You don't even have to vote for the Republican. Let's start small. Let's walk before we run. But don't vote for the Democrat. If you care at all about free speech, if you give a shit at all about the total totalitarianism that's been rolling over this country for the last 18 months, my God, don't vote for the Democrat. Just don't. Don't do it. You can't do it. Unless you enjoy what's going on and you say, well, yep, you should not be allowed to say whatever you want to say. You are dangerous. You scare me. I am afraid of you, and therefore, rather than challenge you in the arena of ideas, I will just shut you up. That's a tactic. I would say that's a dishonorable tactic, but certainly a tactic. Now, of course, that's not going to last. You know, what happens if you do that sort of thing? Eventually, things happen that are not nice. You know, we can just resolve our differences in a nice fashion, if you will, if you follow the rules and allow both sides to speak. But if your idea is you're just going to shut people up and expect no blowback, well, you know, you're going to get what you get. I'm telling you. I'm going to leave you with this. This is a quote, and let me give you the whole quote here. Let me give you the whole quote now. Orwell, George Orwell, do you know who he was? English author from, I'm going to say around the 30s, 40s, 50s, wrote two famous books, 1984, set in the year 1984, go figure. He wrote that book around probably 1948, so it's set in a futuristic society for him, where the world is run by one party, a dystopian world where one authoritarian dictatorship runs everything, controls everybody. No one can speak out of turn or is severely punished. That is the basis of the book 1984. And then his second book was called Animal Farm. I'm sure he had other books, but these are the two I'm interested in. Animal Farm. If you've never read either one of these books, you need to read one. You need to read one. My God, educate yourself. Read one of these books. Animal Farm, again, same deal. It's basically 1984, except the animals talk, and they're on a farm, and the country that they live in is not Oceania. It's on a farm, and the animals talk. I would recommend you start with Animal Farm, just because that's a pretty easy book to read, and I don't think it takes as long to read that book as 1984. But this is a quote from 1984 that pretty much explains what the hell's going on in this country right now and where we're going in this country. So let me read you the whole quote. This is just the end of it, the whole quote, because I was too lazy and ran out of space to write it all. Quote, every record has been destroyed or falsified, every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted, every statue and street building has been renamed, every date has been altered. And the process is continuing day by day, minute by minute. History is stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right. And that's what's happening in this country. I'll give you an example. Climate change. That's a topic that I'm certain I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube. I'm certain I can't say anything about that on YouTube. I can't point out the fact that they've been complaining about climate change, whether it be in the new ice age or world getting hotter. That's been going on for 100 years, and they've been wrong for 100 years. It has not happened. But, am I allowed? That may get me kicked off just saying that, but we'll throw it out there. We'll throw it out there and see if that gets me nailed. But history has stopped. We're not allowed to look back and talk about the previous predictions that all these educated twits have made over the past 100 years saying, this is a problem, my God, the world's getting hotter, the world's getting colder, the world's getting hotter. History has stopped. We're not allowed to look back. That doesn't exist anymore. All that exists is an endless present where the Democrats or YouTube is always right. In other words, they say there's climate change. Well, then by God, there's climate change because they're always right. So, that's just an example. I hope YouTube permits that just so I can, keep the channel active. That's all I have for today. I could go on, but let's not, belabor the point. We'll belabor it some other time. I wish I wasn't warned by YouTube. I wish I didn't have this fourth, a warning. It's a strike. It's a strike. It's not like baseball where you get 3 strikes and you're out. You get 4 strikes and you're out. Well, I got my first strike, if you will. So I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I view it as a badge of honor. But at the end of the day, it doesn't feel all that well and good. It's like, oh, well, I'm getting heat. People are mad at me. This is not good. You don't like being told that you've just violated some kind of norm or something, even if you didn't, and the norm is evil, but, you're hardwired to comply, right? So, at any rate, I'm hoping YouTube allows this video. I think they should. I don't believe I spoke anything out of turn that hotwires their computers or their twits that review the transcript. Any rate, go to Politics Barn on rumble.com. Start going over there. I'm going to post this video over there as well. So if it does get taken down, it'll be there. But, that's the only place I can go. And YouTube's winning because there's only a handful of people that are over there. So if you want to hear what I have to say, sometimes you're going to have to go outside your comfort zone and go over there to rumble.com. Otherwise you're just going to get the liberal orthodoxy off of YouTube that you can get anywhere else. You can get on CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, ABC, NBC, CBS, any of those places, Facebook, Twitter. The liberal orthodoxy, it's not hard to find. You want to hear an alternative point of view? You're going to have to go look for it. So rumble.com, Politics Barn, that's where we're at. That's where this video will also be posted in case YouTube pulls it down. I don't know if they will or not. I don't think they should, but you never know. We're dealing with authoritarians. I'm Eric Arnold. Hey, hit the like button. If this made you think at all, even if you're a moderate Democrat and I made you uncomfortable, if I made you think, you should hit the like button. You should hit the like button. Or you should subscribe if you want to hear more of this content. Now, ultimately, I'm not sure what that gets you other than it tells you when my video is up. I guess that's important because, as we're on the cusp here of being suspended, these videos might only be up for a number of hours before YouTube yanks them. So you better get to them quick before they're not there anymore. So subscribe, and that'll tell you when it's there. I'm Eric Arnold. I believe in free speech. I'm signing off.